When you consider the Christmas story, how much do you think about Joseph? I mean, really, we know he was a part of it. He was Mary's husband after all, and he helped her get to Bethlehem. We have little figurines of him in our nativity sets, but beyond that, this guy doesn't get a whole lot of attention in the grand scheme of the Christmas narrative. In this episode of Practically Biblical, I want to tell you a little bit more of his story and why I find it so fascinating. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Brian, and this is Practically Biblical. This channel is all about sharing stories of Scripture and offering practical insights that I hope encourage you to explore the Bible more for yourself. So look, if you've ever found the Bible confusing or hard to understand, consider subscribing to this channel for fresh content every week that's going to help you grow in your knowledge and understanding of the Scriptures. And if you learn something new in this particular video or hear something that just sounds interesting to you that maybe you've never heard before, let me know that by hitting the thumbs up button and liking this video, and then dropping down into the comment section and letting me know what it was. Now let's jump into today's story. Let's talk for a minute about this guy, Joseph, a simple craftsman from the town of Nazareth who helped to raise Jesus. His role in this Christmas story often gets downplayed as we get caught up in the story from Mary's perspective. The miraculous conception, the traveling to Bethlehem when she's incredibly pregnant, and the lack of a place to stay and bear her child. The way we tell the story and the way we engage with the story often pushes Joseph unintentionally to the sideline, like he's just along for the ride. But Joseph was a key player in this drama. At the time when Mary was visited by the angel, Joseph was pledged to be married to her. We assume from ancient Hebrew marriage customs that Joseph was off preparing the home that the two of them would share once the marriage was official. But somehow, someway, word got back to Joseph that Mary was pregnant. And Joseph, no doubt feeling angry and betrayed, decided to spare Mary and maybe himself from public disgrace and break it off with her quietly. But then Joseph, much like Mary, was visited by an angel, this time in a dream. This angel told Joseph all that was happening and who this child would become. He told him not to be afraid to take Mary home as his wife, because the son that she would bear and the son that he would help raise would take away the sins of his people. Perplexed and maybe yet a little hesitant still, Joseph did take Mary home to be his wife a little bit sooner than they both expected. The other thing about Joseph that's vitally important to this Christmas story is that he was from the line of the greatest king Israel had ever known. We learn that from Matthew chapter 1 as the author traces Joseph's lineage all the way back to Abraham, the father of the Jewish people, whose story begins in Genesis chapter 12 if you're interested in checking out more about that. But along the way, we find the name of David, King David. And why is that important, you ask? Well, it was from David's line that the Lord promised there would be another king, one who was yet to come, whose kingdom was everlasting and whose rule would never end. And though that kingdom was lost long ago and that family line no longer in power, Joseph's son, though adopted, was the rightful heir to the throne of David and king of Israel. We don't know much else about the rest of Joseph's life, but we do know that he was a bit of a dreamer. Not to be confused with another Joseph who was also a dreamer, whose story you can find right here. But this Joseph, Mary's husband, we know was visited at least 4 times by angels in his dreams, and each time was given very specific instructions that took Mary and the Christ child out of harm's way. In many ways, Joseph is the unsung hero of the Christmas story and of Jesus' early childhood. He was content to stay out of the spotlight and simply do what was right, moment to moment. There's something truly admirable about Joseph and something that I aspire to. He was a committed husband, he was a good father, and he was a devout protector of his family who never cared whether or not he got the recognition for it. He was humble and he was faithful throughout, and he raised the child who would one day turn the world upside down. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you learned something new about Joseph and his involvement in the Christmas story. If so, go ahead and give this video a like and let me know in the comments section below what it was that you learned or what it was that you found interesting. There's more to come in this particular Christmas series, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those when they drop. Before you go, I'd love for you to check out some of the other content I've recently released on this channel, and I'd love to know what you think. This one's been fun to put together, and I'm enjoying this Christmas series. I hope you have too, so be sure to come back here next week and join me as we continue this journey here on Practically Biblical.